Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Beyond the Compass, where digital nomads and paranormal investigators meet at the crossroads. I am your host, Eric Garcia, and today I am especially pleased to introduce my guests because they and we have one of those unique to YouTube relationships where you actually know each other for years, but have yet to meet in person. They are Drew and Bethany, hosts of the wildly popular YouTube channel Oddity Odysseys. They are urban explorers that take their viewers on excursions to what they consider some of Los Angeles' most obscure, unique, and storied places of interest. Locations that seem out of place with a backstory that carries a certain mystique. Drew is a St. Louis native with a background as a cinematographer, editor, visual effects artist, and compositor. He has worked on multiple television productions, documentaries, and features for clients that include PBS, Warner Brothers, the CW Seed, IGN, and Freeform. Bethany, a Southern California native, moved to Los Angeles in 2010 after studying newspaper production at Grossmont College in San Diego. A writer, first and foremost, always looking for diversity to perfect her craft, Bethany has published in ALO magazine, joined the creative panel of the Starbucks Barista Focus Group, and is a writer, producer, and blogger for Oddity Odysseys. Now, in addition to their primary channel, they also run Hyrule Odysseys, YouTube's newest gaming channel, where they dive into the massive world of The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Now, I believe today will be a special treat for their fans because I'm a fan, and I'm going to ask the hard-hitting questions like, why doesn't Bethany wear her Rambo knife anymore? And whatever happened to Pronunciation Dave? Okay, the fans want to know. All right, so welcome to the show, my friends. It's so good to see you. How are you doing?
Hi, Eric. Thank you for having us. As you said, it's nice to finally talk in person after all of the online communication for the past 8 years.
Yeah, it's literally like, what is it, phone tag or musical chairs? It's one of the two, or a combo thereof.
Yes, exactly.
And you've been tracking down some fascinating, I mean, you always do, but now, which I'm so happy to see, you've gone outside of California and, into the nation's capital and most recently the Windy City. So I can't wait to hear all about that. Mm-hmm. Now, the way this podcast is structured is similar to the stages of taking a flight to a faraway destination. There is boarding, which we just took care of with the introduction, then takeoff, cruising altitude, final approach, landing, and finally deboarding plane. So let's take off. What inspired you to start Oddity Odysseys with its focus on uncovering the lesser-known history? What inspired you to start Oddity Odysseys with its focus on uncovering the lesser-known histories of Los Angeles?
Ooh, well, it was so long ago, it's hard to kind of pinpoint the exact conversation, but there was a lot of exchange between Drew and myself a few months into our dating life. So we'd only been dating for a couple months when we started a conversation about, hey, why don't we start doing some different things that are interesting to us in Los Angeles that don't include your cookie cutter, go to the movies, go to the mall. We find those things kind of boring and we love hiking. And so we kind of pooled our resources together of, well, I want to go see the Lost Bookstore, and Drew had a couple of places on his radar. And then with both of our background in TV and film, we thought, why not just create a YouTube channel?
Yeah, I mean,
and, why not, right?
Yeah. I mean, anybody can move in together, but a YouTube channel, that's commitment.
Okay? That's right.
That's true. You learn a lot about a person and quickly. That's for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have much to add to that. I just think I thought it would be fun for something that we could do together as a couple and see some unusual sights along the way.
Definitely. Those, I mean, I follow so many YouTube channels that are just couples, either boyfriend, girlfriend, or married couples on the road, van life, whatever. I mean, there's just a certain appeal with following a couple because you get to know that you watch their videos like I have with your videos. You watch them so long and you get used to the interaction, and it's just like, okay, what happens next? I want to.
Yeah, and it's I think it's fun to watch couples too because they can bounce off of each other instead of just one guy talking head or something like that. You have a dynamic to explore between another person. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that off-script chemistry that you two have. Especially back in the day when you had the real long hair, Drew, and there was one video I still crack up. Who can flip their hair, better? And Bethany was like, "Yeah, go away, shut up." That one that's still funny. Yes, I think you did. Yes. So how did the urban exploring begin? I mean, did that come after deciding you wanted to do a YouTube channel, or was that something you two did prior to the YouTube idea?
I think I had been wanting to create a YouTube presence, I think, before I even met her, but I wasn't quite sure what to do. And I'm the sort who I'm not going to pull the trigger on an idea unless I truly believe it's a great idea. And so, meeting her and talking about these weird places we wanted to visit, I kind of thought, okay, well, what if we could meld these two ideas and do a YouTube channel? Because, I really like this idea. How can we share this with the world? That was kind of my thought process. I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah, well, urban exploration is so funny because I never really had a fervent interest in it beforehand. I think it's because the area I grew up in Palm Springs and Hemet territory, there wasn't a lot of ruins to explore. Like, not a lot of abandoned buildings or things like that out there. So there was a couple places that my friends and I did like to go see in high school that I feel were very off the cusp, not in your normal territory. And that was fun to just be able to kind of go see like a condemned house or places like that. And then little did we know that there was actually so many locations in Los Angeles that kind of had that you could do a lot of urban exploring. And I think for me, that was new territory, kind of getting into the channel. And then Drew did kind of more of that back in Missouri. I feel like he told me stories from his high school days of trying to break into places and, with friends. And then it just kind of grew from there.
We actually, this is an aside, but there's one particular location in St. Louis that a friend of mine and I got into. And just recently we were in St. Louis for the eclipse, and we actually talked to the manager of this, I don't want to say too much, but the manager of this area, and we actually got into it legitimately and shot an episode.
So his high school self was so happy.
So yes, that was from my high school self for sure.
Well, if anybody asks, you're still a rebel, Drew. Okay. Okay. You'll always be a wild man to me.
Fair enough.
And now take us through how you decide which places to explore. And is there a specific type of site that you find intriguing?
Oh, that's an interesting question, because I think our process has changed a little bit in the last few years. Because now it's not solely focused on Los Angeles. It's more of let's go see some new cities. So a lot of times we're just like, oh, let's pick a city. Do we have anything on the map that we have a cluster of unusual places we'd like to explore, and look into those further and go visit that city?
And in the beginning, we had a list of places to go see in Los Angeles because it was all new to us. And a lot of places were still open. This is pre-2020, where a lot of things unfortunately closed because of all the rules and regulations. Mm-hmm. And
before the apocalypse.
Right. Yeah, the apocalypse. And so with the timing has been so interesting, because in the beginning, we're like, oh, we can do this, we can do that. And also just what we consider episodes now, I think that's changed as well. Like before we're doing in the first, season 1, season 2, easier episodes, I would say, as far as accessibility and permissions. And now we're kind of wanting to do more extreme places that have a bigger backstory that maybe are harder to get into for some people. So we kind of want to create, I think, better content than we did.
Oh, yeah.
In season 1 and 2, which was like the Great Wall of LA was season 1. It was simple, it was easy, and it was fun. Mm-hmm. And we don't regret doing that. But looking back now, we'd be like, would we do that today? I don't know. It might be too easy to do today. Yeah. Or we do it differently.
I think we'd still do it today, but we definitely do it differently and dig a little deeper, I think.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, the YouTube platform evolves so consistently. You have to evolve with it.
Yeah.
And I think a perfect example with your videos, for me personally, is your more recent one where you're driving under Chicago. It looked like, you were in a permanent parking lot. There was no sunlight anywhere. Yeah. I forgot what you call that underground driving area, but that place was creepy.
That's lower Wacker Drive.
Yeah. Yeah. And after I saw that, I'm like, I need to watch Batman again. I think it was the second Batman movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's for sure.
That's really cool. So yeah, when I saw it, I mean, just the scope, and I was actually feeling tense for you guys because I know you two. So it's like, are you kidding? You better lock your doors.
Yeah.
All right. So now we've reached cruising altitude.
Hey, we can take off our seatbelts now.
Woo.
Exactly. Kick off the shoes, put on, I don't have the little socks that they give you, but we'll go with it.
All right.
Now, do you see your work as a form of advocacy for the importance of preserving these unique spaces? Because I know that a few of the places you filmed at, like Murphy's Ranch, for example, aren't even standing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I think yes and no.
Yes and no.
I know with, for one example is the Goat Canyon Trestle. A lot of people thought we shouldn't have done that episode because it is considered trespassing on private property at certain parts of that road.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, well, are you being disrespectful of the property? And also with our goal, as you said, we do want these moments and these places to be kind of documented somewhere, not just for ourselves, but for the people who don't have access, who maybe can't walk that far, who maybe don't live in California, who are curious about these things. And so we do want so much our passion to be able to share these places with other people. And at the same time, I think sometimes we have to kind of weigh out the cost of, well, if we can't get permission, do we still try to go anyway? If the property is like fenced up and things like that. But we are glad that we did Murphy Ranch. Los Feliz Murder Mansion now has gone through a lot of transformation. Just all these places have changed so much over the past 5 years. I'm really glad that we did do those videos in the long run.
I was going through some of your old videos this morning just to take notes for this interview, and Los Feliz Murder Mansion, that's got some serious history there.
Mm-hmm.
But now, one of your more popular videos, exploring the Devil's Gate Dam, is currently sitting at over 2.2 million views, which is amazing. Now, for those of you listening or watching that may not be familiar with it, it's a dam that was built in the 1920s, and it was the very first flood control dam in Los Angeles. Some say part of the natural rock formation on the cliffside resembles the devil or a devil complete with horns and the whole 9 yards, and you showcase that in your video. That rock formation has led to some rather interesting activities taking place out there, which you spoke of in your video. Could you share some of those activities with us?
Oh my, that was a while ago.
Devil's Gate Dam, that was another one that we weren't sure
Yeah.
if we could get it because it's barred off. I think we did hear a lot of people have gone down there for their own rituals that we heard of, kind of just to perform their own rituals with, I don't know. I mean, I don't know too much about that side of it, I guess.
Yeah, supposedly there are some satanic rituals down there, and one of the scientists from JPL was involved in those.
Jack Carson?
Yeah.
Yes.
Was it Jack Carson?
It should have been.
Okay. I don't remember these names. That was several years ago.
I just literally just watched a video about like 2 hours ago. So
okay.
He knows more than we do right now.
Perfect.
Jet Propulsion Laboratories, and he also was a buddy of L. Ron Hubbard, which that right there is like, okay, that's enough for me to be like, all right.
Right.
You
Jack
stay there, cowboy.
Yeah, that place did have it was a little unsettling. I would say we were the only two down there. We didn't see anybody else when we went. I would highly recommend going there during the daytime. We did go during the daytime. At night, I do feel like some people probably have tried to get in there to mess around and to try to.
People have disappeared down there too over the years.
Oh, that's yeah. I guess what he was asking.
Oh, that's right. You did mention there was one child back in 1954, and then another in the 1960s. So a couple of kids have gone back missing down there.
Right.
Yeah, terrifying place, and the whole. I mean, is there any evidence to suggest that Jack Carson actually went there to perform these rituals, or he was just? Because I know you could see Jet Propulsion Laboratories from the bridge.
Yes, you can. I don't know if it's how much of that is hearsay and how much of it is actually documented, but that's the story around this place, and so I think we endeavor to share the story as well as the history, because it's it's two different things in a lot of the cases.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we touched on this a little bit, but urban exploring often involves navigating, as you know, historical sites. How do you balance the excitement of exploration with the responsibility of preserving the history of these unique places? And on the flip side of that, how do you navigate which you touched on a little bit, but how do you navigate the trespassing concerns?
Well, let me speak a little bit to the preservation, and sort of getting back to what was the term you used? Promoting the preservation of certain sites. I think when we're dealing with art or something like that, when we're going to the Mosaic Tile House, it's more of advocacy. That's the word you used. It's more of saying, hey, these people have created this really awesome artwork. It needs to be seen by the people. But if we're going to some place like ruins, yes, they may have some historical value. And I think a lot of sites, there's already preservation efforts going on, like at Fort MacArthur or some of these other military sites. But a lot of ruins, I think, I appreciate them because they're ruins and because they're degrading, and they evolve in and of themselves. And eventually they're going to go away. And eventually everything's going to go away. So again, I think it depends on the site, but a lot of ruins, I feel, we need to let them continue to decay naturally and let nature take over, or let spray paint take over, or, or vandals or something like that. Because if it's a place that is truly no longer needed, it will take a natural course. And I find that interesting.
We do our best to kind of do no harm when we go to these places.
Yeah.
Like we're pretty strong in our opinions about, you don't leave litter or trash behind. You don't take anything, like you don't break anything that's not yours. We just want to go and just kind of see it with our own eyes, and then respect it and then leave. So I think that a lot of people, they do want to, I think, protect certain sites because they don't want it to get destroyed, which is completely understandable.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we do try to make it clear to our viewers, hey, we are here with permission, because we do try to get permission if possible and when we can for these places, just for ease of mind. And then also just it looks better on camera to not be like scurrying around and trying to get a shot and, hustle out of there. So, but we always try to make it clear, hey, please be respectful when you do go to these places, because like you said, it may not be around for forever, but they should be enjoyed to some extent by people who just want to enjoy the history a little bit.
And I think with the shooting a video of a place, capturing it on video is capturing a moment in time for this place. Because it's not always going to look like this. It's going to degrade. It's going to be taken over by vines, by taggers. So I think
demolished and an entire new site put up.
Yeah, exactly. Like with Murphy Ranch is just completely demolished now. So I don't, for a number of the places we've been to, I don't really shed a tear if they've been vandalized, especially when we're talking about ruins, because that's the natural process of a location that is no longer needed. So, and I think there's a certain degree of beauty in that as well.
That's a very good answer. And also if you think of it, it's part of the evolution of the locale of the city itself.
Yeah.
Some areas are going to get worn down after a while. Then something's going to come in and start rebuilding in that area and bring it back to life. It's part of the city's progression and the city's growth and its own history.
Yeah. And it is fun to look back, like when we have old pictures of what it used to look like. The more degraded it looks today, the more of a juxtaposition we can make and say, oh, wow, look at what it used to be. And
And I just realized, because I did hike to Murphy Ranch one time years ago, and I still have pictures of it somewhere where I'm sitting on those. Like you said, the graffiti almost adds to it at this point. It's an artist's interpretation of what used to be there, or even enhancing it. So I'm sitting on a pair of those old steps in these buildings. I mean, it was really, really so interesting. Now it's not there anymore. So I see exactly what you mean. Wow. And and also, I've always said you can't really call yourself a YouTuber unless you get kicked out of someplace by security. That happened on my lizard people under LA video. I filmed the perfect ending to it, and literally 5 seconds after I hit stop record, security kicked me out. Like, hey, what are you doing there? I'm like, oh, I'm leaving.
But, see you later.
That happened to us in Chicago during the Pedway. when we were shooting our outro, and the second we got it, the security guard says, "Hey, you can't film a movie down here."
I'm like, okay, no problem.
Okay,
We're leaving.
we'll
Bye.
head out.
Yeah, did you ever see that Johnny Depp movie, Ed Wood? They're filming an entire scene on the street, and he's like, "We don't have a permit." And they all grab all their stuff and they take off. And that's how Ed Wood did it. You know, Ed Wood, you could call him the first YouTuber.
Yeah.
He didn't have permission for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you know what? You already beautifully answered that question, so I can't ask that one now. Now, your videos look pretty seamless, but every location has its challenges. Can you share a behind-the-scenes story of one that was particularly challenging or had an unexpected hiccup in your filming process?
Oh my God! If you want to talk hiccups,
It's gonna be Goat Canyon Trestle.
Goat Canyon Trestle is the big one.
Yeah, that episode I still cannot believe we got. It's one of those episodes where it's just kind of mind-blowing that it even happened. It feels like a dream. But that was filmed over the course of 2 different trips.
Mm-hmm.
And the final version that you watch on YouTube makes it look like it was filmed in one day. So a lot of people who are kind of like, oh, it wasn't that bad of a hike. And I was like, well, we did it twice. The first time we took bikes just to try to save time because we're fighting against daylight. We have to get this episode shot and get back to our campsite before it gets dark. And it's a 20-mile hike, 10 miles out, 10 miles back. So it didn't give us a lot of time. It's like, hey, let's take bikes to cover up and, earn some time there. Ended up not being a good idea because we had to carry the bikes through some of the terrain. And then I was coming off of being sick and it was just a bad idea all around.
We're not mountain bikers.
No.
But we thought, okay, if we can stick close to the railroad tracks, it'll be pretty smooth and level. But of course, there are a couple of spots where you have to hike up and around tunnels that are blocked off. And
so now you are mountain bikers.
And so if we couldn't ride our bike, we had to carry it over this terrain. And it ended
after
up
5 miles, we just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah,
it
ended up slowing us down a lot more than it was speeding us up.
So we had to leave the bikes, which is still heartbreaking to me today. Yeah. And then we just went back to the campsite, counted our losses, and went, we're not going to get this episode. A couple months later, we went, okay, we're going to go.
It was bugging
bikes.
us. Like it was, what's the term?
Like the monkey on your shoulder?
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know
it was
if
like the 800-pound gorilla in the room. And we couldn't ignore it. We're like, we got to go back and get that episode.
Yeah.
It was your white whale.
It was our white whale, exactly.
So we went back only to film that episode. We just drove out there, spent the night, got up at 4:00 in the morning, walked the whole way. We're not taking the bikes. And actually on foot, we made some pretty good time, I'd say. Mm-hmm. We got it all. And then it was just, that Goat Canyon Trestle is gorgeous. I'm so glad that we could share it with some people who are never going to be able to make it out there. And then we came home, and then that was
that's a location too that I really hope that it lasts for years and years and years to come, because it is a really awesome thing to see. Yeah, it's just a huge beautiful wooden trestle with a curve in it, but eventually that's going to come down too, because no one's really using it, and something's going to take that out. Right. Just like the Tustin airship hangar burned down not too long ago, which is heartbreaking, but at the same time, it's bound to happen to everything eventually.
That wasn't where Howard Hughes kept that giant plane, was it? Or am I thinking of a different airport?
No, this is a giant blimp hangar that we have not been able to shoot yet. She was there recently.
I was actually there for a day job project type thing, and I told Drew, I think I have to meet up at the Tustin airship hangar. And he was like, no way. So of course, on my downtime, my lunch break and stuff, I was just going around just trying to photograph whatever I could, film whatever I could. Cause I may not be back in here again. It cost $9,000 to film in that location. We're not going to spend $9,000. We don't have $9,000. Yeah. We've been there.
That's not a YouTube budget.
Yeah, but we're like, I was so excited taking so many photos.
Yeah. But yeah, they're basically these huge blimp hangars. So you could
X-Files.
You could fit an entire. It is an episode of X-Files. So you could fit an entire inflated blimp, or several of them actually, in this hangar. And they've been down there for 100 years or so. And unfortunately, there were 2 of them, and one of them recently burned down. But there's still one down there.
For fellow X-File nerds, is the episode where the syndicate is leaving, or they're trying to fly their families out.
I believe. Is it Two Fathers and One Son?
Yes, it is. Season 5, right?
So it's at the end of
Wow.
it's at the end of One Son in season 6.
I'm sorry, this is going way far off track.
No. Okay. Oh, you've never sat down and talked movies with me. Okay. If this was about movies, we'd be here. Like I told my buddy, the Navajo Ghost Hunter, he and I started talking about movies, and I'm like, dude, we got to stop. This video will be 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell people that I specialize in worthless trivia because anybody can do movie trivia. I specialize in stuff no one cares about. Okay, because you have to specialize to stand out. Nobody ever watches the original Terminator movie the same after I've talked to them and said, well, look for this, this, and this. And they'll be like, oh my gosh, yep. Worthless trivia.
We'd like to have that conversation with you too. We just watched Terminator 2 the other night.
I had that on the other night. You know what? After the second one, they just progressively. It's like the Resident Evil movies. The first one was awesome. After that, they just progressively got worse.
Yeah.
But yeah. Like, see, movie trivia, don't get started. But kudos for the obscure X-Files reference. See, that's what I've said. I think
there you go.
One of your early videos, I even I commented something like your LA's answer to Mulder and Scully. So yeah,
that's a compliment. We'll take it.
I think that's how the friendship formed quickly after that.
Yep.
Exactly. Now you just have to find the lone gunman. That could be your spinoff.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are on the final approach now. Now, your audience likely suggests many places to explore. Can you share an instance where a community recommendation led to a particularly fascinating or unexpected discovery, whether you filmed it there or not?
That does happen a lot. I don't personally have a system for keeping track of who suggests what, but yeah, when we definitely do get a lot of suggestions in the comments, and at the very least, I'll look it up and just sort of breeze off the top. Oh, is this something we could do? Yeah, maybe it is. So I put it on my list, or rather, I have a map with thumbtacks that I put all of our potential ideas in.
I like that. I should do that.
Yeah. Because I'm more visual. So I have on Google Earth, I have a whole globe with thumbtacks all over it of places we would like to see.
Suggestions have been great because it also comes from locals of Southern California that may know of places that aren't even really online.
Right.
It just may be, I lived by this really weird looking thing, or how about check out the history of this? And so that's been helpful with kind of branching out a little bit more into some more Southern California territory. I feel has been suggestions from the viewers for sure.
Totally.
Now, when it comes to urban exploring, what's one lesson or piece of advice you wish you would have known starting out?
I think it would have been helpful to know in the beginning, and there's no way we could have predicted this, what places would no longer be here in the next 5 years. Because I think when we first started our channel, we thought we had all the time in the world to visit certain locations and things like that. And then, like you said, the Tustin Airship Hangar, one of them burned down, or just a couple, I think it was a mansion that we wanted to explore in Beverly Hills, and that got demolished. So I think we definitely could have been more, I would say, be more proactive in your search for permissions to places. I think in the beginning, we were just so taxed down with our regular jobs that Oddity Odysseys was kind of in our spare time. And we could have been probably hammering out more locations and coming up with better places to visit in the beginning. But I think it all worked out ultimately. And also just find your balance. There's so many times where it's been easy to get kind of caught up in the work and then Oddity Odysseys and be like, oh, right, but we're still in a relationship. So we have to make sure to maintain that too. And so it's just all about balance and then just kind of keeping communication flowing. Because at the end of the day, like, we're partners. And if one of us doesn't want to do the channel, then that kind of makes it suffer that week, So we have to kind of keep the momentum going and help each other out and just keep communicating.
Yeah, I can see what you do, because you do Oddity Odysseys kind of in seasons, if I'm not mistaken. You'll take a break for a little bit and, hey, we're back. And then you'll have a fresh batch of
sorry, my
episodes.
cat, he was just being a jerk. So sorry. Sorry, we can go back. The wildlife in this apartment.
Yeah, we definitely shoot it in seasons. But yeah, I think we're trying to release it more of a regular thing now.
Yeah, because it's like, the hurdle I've come across is, I want every detail to be just right.
Mm-hmm.
And, when they come in, like you see like Mr. Beast and all these other giant YouTubers are like, just hit record, film it. It's going to suck starting out anyway, but film it and get it out there.
Yeah.
And I've done that, and it's like, okay, maybe it wasn't, but I can feel that, okay, I've done it. It's on there for the world to see.
Mm-hmm.
And I can just keep working at my craft. So it is because life can get in the way of your plans. I say that all the time.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone looking to start their own YouTube channel or embark on a similar creative journey?
I would say to make sure it's something you enjoy doing.
Yeah, that's
the
key.
topic of what you're putting out there is what you enjoy doing, because it is work, it is a process, and you may not find success.
Mm-hmm.
So if you enjoy the process and you enjoy the research of the topics that you're talking about, whether it be paranormal or travel or DIY projects or cooking, whatever it is that you want to put out there, make sure that when you're filming it, it's what you love to do, because you may never get a view. You may never get a subscriber.
Mm-hmm.
But if you love it, then you still had fun making it. And I think that gets lost a lot of times with YouTube, because people just try to make content that they think will go viral, and it's not necessarily their niche. So that kind of comes across in their videos and in their work, and then they get burnt out just trying to do what they think they should be doing rather than what they want to do.
It has to be worth it if you fail, just as much as it would be worth it if you succeeded.
I like that quote.
There you go.
It has to be worth it. Wow. That's like Arnold Schwarzenegger level of motivation.
Yeah.
That's good, Drew. I'm going
yeah,
to make
if you love what you're doing, then to me, it doesn't matter if nobody watches it. Of course, a lot of people do, which is amazing. But that's the icing on the cake. That's not the goal. The goal is to go out and shoot, because that's what we love to do. I love to shoot. She loves to write, and we both love seeing crazy places out in the desert. So.
And 40 years from now, we'll have this wonderful little memory book of videos to kind of be like, hey, remember when we could move our bodies like that and actually hike to the Goat Canyon Trestle? So at the end of the day, we have some of our favorite episodes have the lowest amount of views, but we're okay with that because we have that content. And then we're like, well, but we got it. That's what we wanted, is we got it. And YouTube, you never know. Tomorrow we could wake up and it could be one of the videos just happens to surge. It's so random. YouTube really is random. You can't count on it to back you up all the time. It's going to kind of do what it wants to do. So just have fun along the way.
Or YouTube could shut us down suddenly for no reason, and then that's another new mess. But
yeah,
exactly. I mean, what you were saying about sometimes your biggest videos aren't your favorite, because I did the one that's like my most popular video. It was the Lizard City underneath downtown LA.
Yeah.
And I did an in-depth location shoot on that one, and I enjoyed making it. And it sat quiet for like a year, and then it popped up on somebody else's recommended channel, and I gained 1,000 subscribers in a month. It's up to 65,000 views right now, something crazy like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
One of the videos I tell people, like, this was one of my absolute favorite to film, because I had so much fun, was a trip I took on the Devil's Highway through New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah. And it's one of my lowest viewed videos, but I still rewatch that one all the time, because I had so much fun on that, making it. It was great.
Yeah.
So you have to do it because you love it. You have to do it because when you're enjoying it, okay, the viewers are going to see that, and they're going to feel that, and they're going to be along for the ride with you. Because I was just telling my friend not that long ago, because YouTube really is, when you get down to it, it's building your own community. This is your own group of friends, or like, we all have that same, let's go here, cool,
Right.
And especially with a channel like yours, or channels that travel, there are so many people that for whatever reason can't, get out and go to these places, and they live vicariously through, your channel. Like, oh, that is so cool.
Yeah.
I've heard of that. And now you get to go there for them. So, I mean, that helps people so much as well. Because I had a buddy in LA who had some medical challenges, and he loved my videos. He was like, yeah, when can I come out with a new one? Because of his challenges, he wasn't able to go to some of these places. But because he knew me and I'm going to these places, it was like very, what's the word? It just made him so happy. And that kind of humbled me too. It's like, wow, there is a bigger thing here. It's not just me in front of a camera. People are enjoying this for a lot of different reasons. So I totally get that.
We've had a number of comments as well from people who are in the hospital or whatever, and they're like, "Thank you so much for sharing your adventures because I can't go have my own." And it is humbling. It's every word of what you said is ringing true for us as well.
It just makes you want to, do that much more for them.
Exactly.
Just go to like even greater places, or just make the quality even that much more. Make sure your research is on point. It's like, okay, I want to do this for them. I want them to enjoy it too.
All true.
See, now, what are some of the milestones or goals you hope to achieve with Oddity Odysseys in the coming years in terms of both exploration and content creation? Is there a long-term goal that's just like, that's what we want to get to?
Well, we're starting to close in on 100,000 subs.
Wow.
Yeah.
We just want that darn play button. That's all we wanted,
we want that stupid
Everybody
play
does.
button.
You're going to hang it in the background of all your videos like everybody else does.
Just carry it with us.
You'll be returned to Goat Mountain Trestle, and you'll have it with you.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, we want it on the bookshelf back here. But to get a little below surface level, I think some of our goals.
The biggest goal for me, if I may give you time to even think about it.
Yeah, go for it. I need some time.
Is to be able to do it full time. Be able to pick and choose because right now we are still juggling regular work with Oddity Odysseys. But the biggest goal for me, and I think maybe you share this with me as well, is to wake up every day and this is our full-time job because we know that the returns financially are enough for us to be able to put aside the other work that we need to do to pay the bills.
Right.
I think that's the biggest goal ultimately, however long it takes. It may be a while, but I think one day we might get there. It's just, right now we're not there yet.
Yeah. I think a more specific goal is we would like to build out a camper van, like create our own, build our own RV, if you will, and use that.
Wow.
Well, that would be a channel in and of itself,
right?
As many people out there have demonstrated. But then to use that to travel the country to shoot Oddity Odysseys, I think would be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
That would be something to see. And you could put your logo on the side of the van, like some 1970 design, like it drove out of the 1970s.
Yes,
I can see that happening.
Yes, sir. And then we could do longer form content, like we could do all of Route 66, and of course it would be broken up into small episodes. But then we could do one long, like
more series.
We could do a feature film of Oddity Odysseys drives the entire route of Route 66, for example.
That would be awesome. And you know what route, and maybe this is something you could look into down the road as well, because I've thought about it. Route 66 gets all the press, obviously, but there's another one, the Lincoln Highway, that runs along the northern half of the United States. That was, I believe, their first coast-to-coast interstate highway.
Lincoln Highway.
And if you look up the Lincoln Highway, it goes through pretty much all the northern border states, coast to coast. And it's like Route 66 gets all the press because you have all these like really cool stops there. And this highway, it's literally, you're going to be driving through tiny towns, literally in the middle of nowhere. But I think you're going to have a little more scenery than you would on Route 66 because there's a lot of desert in Route 66, and especially when you get the further west you get. But this one, it's all pretty much the northern border states, and I don't think the Lincoln Highway gets enough love. Honestly, I mean that's one on my bucket list as well.
Well, it's on our list now too.
What did you think of the London Bridge? Because you saw that and did a video on it, and you saw it at night and the day, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, thank you. I had because in the video I referenced the David Hasselhoff classic TV movie about it. London Bridge Killer or something like that. I forgot the name of it.
Right.
And I really wanted to go there since I saw that movie as a teenager. I'm showing my age now. But it was a blast. And the lady who took me on the tour, she, really nice lady, and it was surprising. She hadn't seen the movie. I'm like, wait a minute, you're the expert in the bridge. And she's like, I know. But I believe she said when they opened it, there were people, they had a huge party for it. The whole town came out. And some people were saying, oh, they hired actors to dress in period clothing, like old England. And they're like, no, we didn't. They're like, we just saw a couple walking around. They're like, we didn't hire actors. There's nobody. So maybe, and I can tell you one weird thing from it. We were getting close to finishing filming for the night. And she's like, well, because she goes, if we go up these stairs on the side of the bridge towards the street at the top, that's known to be kind of people have seen and heard things up there. I'm like, okay, cool. And I knew I'd been filming the whole evening. So I checked my battery. I'm like, okay, I'm at like 22, 23%. Cool. At the bottom of the stairs. When we get to the top of the stairs, like not even a minute later, I'm down to 8%.
Ooh.
Which is kind of like if you go to a lot of these reportedly haunted locations, the spirit activity, they need like electrical energy. They feed off of that. And so you'll see that on a lot of these ghost hunting TV shows or YouTube channels. When they go into these, they'll have full batteries charged, ready to go. They prepare for it, and the batteries still get drained.
Yeah.
Okay. It was at 22% at the bottom of those stairs, and it was down to 7 or 8%.
That's interesting.
Something, yeah, but I enjoyed it. I thought the massive scale it took to bring that thing over brick by brick, and to hire the guy that designed most of Disneyland to make sure it was structurally sound. I mean, it's an impressive feat, and especially
story.
where they put it.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Middle of the desert too. It was, but I would go up there again. I had a blast. I found a really cool country and western bar. But I'm a hick from Oklahoma, so I got to find those places.
Well, that's a location that we need to do as well. It was in fact it was almost on our list for our next trip, but then we've had to shorten it. So
yeah, it's funny. You and I our channels have had a couple of the same locations, most notably, and I think that's how I first found your channel. Was picnic table number 29. And yours is, quite honestly, I mean, when I was there, it was just a segment of the overall video I was doing, because mine was about all of Griffith Park. And yours was specifically about the table. Yours is one of the best out there as far as like filmed, researched, the whole 9 yards.
Thank you.
For those of you who may not be familiar, in Los Angeles, there's a park, Griffith Park. It's one of the largest city parks in the country. There's a picnic table that is reportedly haunted by the ghosts of this couple who were fooling around on a picnic table. A tree fell over and crushed them. That's the urban legend. And I've looked more into it since then. There's debate on whether that's the actual story, because I was looking into it actually yesterday, and they're saying it actually is not haunted by the couple. It's haunted by the ghost of an Asian man who was lynched on that tree during the Chinatown massacre of 1871. Which I was skeptical too, because all that happened in Chinatown. They hung like 15 guys. It's a whole story, but it's like Chinatown, Griffith Park. I don't see how that jives.
Yeah, but, I think the couple story is fabricated, I believe, but you can't discount experiences that people have had at this table.
Yeah, I caught it on my video because this is when I just started my channel, so I was filming everything on my phone. And a friend of mine went up there with me. She was filming me. I'm editing it that night. And I talk about a ghost brood, which is a group of ghosts that, stay in one location. In the video, the moment I start talking about it, the audio goes out. You hear this weird whoosh going through. And I thought I made a mistake. But yeah, if it's not the couple, there's definitely something at that table. What it is, I don't know. But you're not going to tell me that there's not. It's just too weird. And you two went further than I did. You two sat at the table. So, I give you kudos for that.
Should we do this? I don't know. This is a good idea.
I remember watching it for the first time. I'm like, oh,
don't do it.
But hey, that's what you expect from the X-Files. That's YouTube.
I got to pause for a second.
Yeah, I got a technical difficulty here. 1 second.
Yeah.
There
One of our cats being a little hall raiser again.
Would that be Ollie or Jet?
Ollie.
Okay. See, I do my research.
Ollie's a menace.
When the attention's not on him, he likes to go crazy.
He's about to knock the food bin off the counter. Fortunately, it's empty. Okay.
What a bad
All right. So now we've come to the landing portion of our flight. We're at landing. So these are a little more just a few rapid fire questions, like a yes or no, or just that I'm going to put out there probably for the shorts, for the reels, because I really want to know.
Sure.
Okay, so why doesn't Bethany carry her Rambo knife anymore? Come on.
Oh,
Well,
I love the Rambo knife.
you know what? It's
but-
not coming back. She's not coming back. We did have the Rambo knife in season 1. At the time, we were still trying to figure out exactly what we wanted to do with the show, if we wanted any staples. One of them I came up with was an I Heart LA shirt, just a different style. I thought would be kind of funny. And then
That
a
was
knife.
creative, yeah.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
a knife just to have as like a accessory.
Well, yeah, we were trying to go for more of like an Indiana Jones look and have
Yeah.
accessories and stuff
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
Tomb Raider-esque, totally.
Yeah. It ended up being a big problem though, because all anyone could talk about was the knife.
Yeah.
And I was like, did you even watch the episode? Did you know what was going on?
And there's it's a fake knife, but there were some legal concerns too about carrying a knife that's that long in public. So we just stopped it altogether.
And I'm wearing my mic. It was just a hassle, but I do still have it. It is in my nightstand in case I ever need it if we get broken into at night. So
Okay.
maybe one day I'll throw it in an episode and then see if anyone remembers it. Just wear it, not talk about it.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's just because, you're a petite girl and you see this giant knife on your hip and it's just like, okay. That's why I always cracked up, and that you always went into the scary places first.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, why are you sending her in? Take turns. Now here's the hard-hitting question.
Sorry.
Yeah. Time for the hard-hitting question.
Uh-oh.
Whatever happened to Pronunciation Dave? Are we going to see him again?
I would love to see him again.
Pronunciation Dave is not coming back. No. He retired with the knife. That is my father, and we talked about bringing him back for maybe one fun episode in the beginning or, future. But as of right now, there are no plans to bring him back.
We need something hard to pronounce, that's something Hispanic that us Americans can't pronounce. And then we'll get Pronunciation Dave in there for a cameo.
Yeah, for those of you, your longtime followers know all about him. For those of you who may not be familiar, he was in a couple of episodes, I believe, like 2 or 3 episodes.
He was in
Vasquez Rocks.
Okay,
Vasquez Rocks,
that's
for
one.
sure.
And that's it.
He might have made a Did he come? He came with us down to somewhere else. But I don't think he was
came
ever
with
in
us
the
to
show.
Salvation Mountain, but he wasn't in the episode. He just kind of came to kind of observe because he lived not that far from there.
Yeah.
So he just kind of came to watch us and then kind of make sure he was our security guard for that day.
But yeah, I was hoping Pronunciation Dave would be sort of a recurring gag that we would do. But,
Yeah, because for those of you who are not familiar, because they would be at a location, Drew Bethany would be at a location or talking about a particular subject, and there's this word that anyone's guess how you pronounce it. And we're like, let's cut to Pronunciation Dave. And then you see your dad sitting in his recliner with a lamp, very, stately Alistair, and then he tells us the correct pronunciation. And your dad was so low key about it, which is such a contrast to where you were at the time. It's like people were, I remember in the comments, Pronunciation Dave for president, bring him back. So
for president, yes.
Yeah.
He
So,
was a diva,
again,
so I don't know. We'll see if we can work with him again.
well, you do live in Los Angeles, so that's going to happen.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
Okay. Just threaten to revoke his SAG card.
Yeah. That's what we'll do.
Okay. Favorite urban legend for each of you?
The lost pirate ship of the desert.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
Nope, I said it first.
Oh, out by the Salton Sea. Yes.
That's one that we're like, how do we
story.
do an episode? Because there's nothing to film.
We'd love to do that episode, but we need something to film, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, you can't get some old wood and throw it in the dirt and like, hey, that was it.
Oh, what's that?
Now, see. So, is there ever one that you? Was there a location you disagreed about that maybe you didn't film at, or decided, okay, let's go, but maybe you disagreed about?
We've had a number of little disagreements in regards to whether it should be a full episode or whether it should just be like a 2 to 3 minute bonus. But we sort those out pretty quickly. And usually it comes down to how much is there to see and how much information can we find about it. And those are the determining factors about what kind of episode it'll be.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever been an episode that one of us really wanted to do that the other one wasn't on board with to some degree.
Yeah.
It just may take a little bit more talking into for certain locations.
Yeah.
Okay. And my last hard-hitting question. the Ollie and Jet YouTube channel. Okay, it's currently sitting at over 54,000 views. I mean, it's closing in on 60,000 views, especially the cat drinking from the straw video.
Yeah.
Are we going to see any more from them? Okay.
Oh, geez. Every time we
I
shoot
hope
something,
so.
they destroy our video.
We have a backlog of videos of our two cats just for our own personal use. And I would love for us to have the time, maybe after things have calmed down a little bit with the channel, to put some of those together again, because they're fun, they're funny. And our kitties are kitties. They're not going to be around for forever. So, but yeah, we'd love to maybe start posting on that channel more regularly in the future. Just it's fun.
It comes down to finding the time to do it. There's only so many YouTube channels we can work on at once.
Ghost hunting. We're going to see more of that, or are you going to balance it out?
I would like to do more, but then I think also with us, it comes down to we need to be able to see something, and with ghost hunting, it's likely you won't see anything, and I don't think we really want to embellish it such that we're doing like what ghost hunters do, and
we don't want it to be fake.
We don't want it to be fake.
Travel Channel. No one said that.
So we did try that boost.
For the record, I love ghost hunters. They do a great job at what they do. That's just not what we want.
I lean more towards Ghost Adventures. Something about the Jason Hawes guy. It's bugged me. I don't know what it is. But...
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have landed, and now we are deboarding. And in deboarding, you let us know what's coming up next for Oddity Odysseys. Where can we find you online? What's your social media? And what we have to look forward to in the coming weeks? Because you've been doing some serious traveling.
Sure.
So we do have more outside of California content coming.
Some less serious traveling coming.
Yes. And we also do have some more Los Angeles content coming.
Yep.
So we were able to find a couple places in Los Angeles, and one I'm really excited about because it's been on our radar since day one, and we got permission. So I think he's confused about which one I'm talking about.
No, I know which one you're talking about.
So that'll be fun to kind of see that play out, and then to have that in the books and to show everyone. And we are hopefully working on another channel, which I won't say the name of or anything because it's very, very early stages. But the plan for that is to release it in the summer, but it may not be the summer. It may be a while. It's just a pet project and something that I've wanted to do for a while. That's kind of in the same vein of Oddity Odysseys. And it's, again, trying to find the time to do it. But we are taking a trip in a couple of days to go to the desert, which we're excited about.
We're doing another desert trip to shoot, hopefully, 5 new episodes in about a week, which is a tall order for us.
But next month, we are finishing out our Chicago series. I think that'll be the final Chicago episode that we filmed back last fall. So we're closing out Chicago, sadly, and then we're moving on to other parts of the country where we've been to the last few months.
And the last Chicago episode, it does have a peripherally paranormal slant to it. So
yeah, I mean, because you two really didn't delve that much into it in the early days of your channel, and I've noticed like in the last couple of years you've stuck a toe in the water a little bit. I'm like, right on, because I know that's not necessarily your niche or your venue. Is that the word for venue, purview? I know it's not necessarily your area of specialty, but I like that you're dabbling in it to a certain extent. Like, you know what, this is what they say about this place. If we see something, we'll tell you. You know, as opposed to like, I mean, it can get, even in the paranormal community, especially on YouTube, it can get kind of old when you see these paranormal guys. Every single video they release, it's like, ran into a demon, saw a demon, caught a demon on tape. I'm like, if you ran into a demon that often, you wouldn't have the time to make a YouTube channel. Trust me.
Yes.
God.
True.
That is awesome, and I'm really looking forward to it. And you know what? I have one suggestion for a location which just has your channel's name all over it. So it's like, hopefully either you guys can make it out there, or maybe I can make it out there sometime, or we can one day meet up there. Mount Rushmore has a secret door.
Yes, it does. I don't need to write that down. I'm familiar with it.
Yeah. I saw some random video about it like 6 months to a year ago. I never knew this. And it has this whole thing to do with the government. And putting it there. And I remember thinking, I'm like, that's totally for Drew Bethany. That's totally something they would check.
Well, it was supposed to be like an archive or something, wasn't it?
That's right. That's right. It was something to do, I thought, with the Treasury Department, where they store something like that. I know it was along those lines.
We haven't looked too deeply into that for a while, but you're absolutely right. There is this hidden room behind Mount Rushmore, and we would love to see it.
Yeah, you two head out there, or I'll head out there, or let me know when you're going to be out there. We'll figure something out. I mean, that's a distant bucket list for me.
Mount Rushmore, that's for sure.
That would be great.
That would be awesome.
Or you two can fly out to Texas. You can't throw a stick without hitting a haunted road out here. Okay, and there's so much history. It's insane for the state. I mean, it's like its own little country. Yeah. People are always like, I drove 10 hours and I'm still in Texas. I'm like, yeah, it's just that big. Well, this we have deboarded. This is Drew and Bethany with Oddity Odysseys. I will attach links to all of their social media and their website down below. Check them out, follow them, subscribe to them, follow them on their adventures, and you'll be part of their family. Okay, it really is an amazing channel. Drew, Bethany, thank you so much for joining me. This has been a blast. So good catching up and just having time to sit down and talk with you two guys outside of the comments. This is great. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Eric. It's been great talking to you as well.
Thanks, Eric. It's always fun. Let's do this again soon. We'll do a part 2.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. You know what? Part 2, movie trivia.
Yes.
Okay. Or X-Files versus Supernatural.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I like
I'd have to watch
we could do that.
Supernatural, though. I'm not as familiar.
Okay. Oh, you'll like it.
All right.
Okay, yes, time. We'll send you Netflix. Thank you again. This has been Oddity Odysseys on Beyond the Compass, where digital nomads and paranormal investigators meet at the crossroads. Thank you again, and we'll see you on a journey.
Bye.
Ooh, bye.